Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Tdpk Talk on the 14th episode of Global Tech Review. My name is May from the community team here at True Digital Park, and I'll be your host for the event this evening. So for today's episodes, we are very honored to have two of our special guest speakers joining us to share their expert knowledge and perspective on the topic, Gogolook, the expert in data and worldwide anti-fraud solution. Do you know that trillions of dollars have been lost each year to cybercrimes, and that is one of the greatest threats to humanity for the current and the upcoming decades? So why don't we equip ourselves with the knowledge and learn how to prevent frauds from happening to us? So today we are very pleased to have a chance to talk with the founders of Gogolook, an app development company from Taiwan that offers an anti-fraud solutions. Or many of you may have known them from the Who's Call application. And tonight, we will also cover the worldwide trend on anti-spam and frauds, as well as what Gogolook can offer in order to tackle those problems. But before we begin our events and hear from our speakers today, I would like to first congratulate Gogolook team on winning the Presidential Innovation Award. Congratulations and well done, everyone. And tonight, I would like to ask the people behind the success to help share with us a little bit about Gogolook and its history. When and how did the company start? What were the ideas and visions behind, and what is the secret to their success? And during the session tonight, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave the questions in the comment section. We will try to answer all of the questions that you may have at the end during the Q&A session. So without further ado, I would like to welcome our first speaker, Jeff Kuo, CEO of Gogolook. Welcome, Jeff. Hi.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for the first session?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Now the floor is yours.
Yeah. So can you show my slide? Right. Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for have me here. And now I'm going to introduce some behind the scenes stories. So okay. So the part one, I will share some of our founding stories. I got a question from the host before. She asked us when we're founded and then where we guys are located. Okay, and again, I'm Jeff, and we're here in Taiwan, and we have Meng Wu, our COO, and he's actually from Korea, but he's currently moved all the family here in Taiwan. So you can know we have our headquarters in Taiwan, but when it was founded and where it in the beginning was located, we are actually founded in 2010. And we don't have officially set up a company at that time, but we started to develop several apps in the beginning. And this is our office. We was work in a very iconic coffee shop, and this is called Mr. Brown. And Mr. Brown is still famous for the Wi-Fi is very fast and it's cheap, right? So that's why we pick Mr. Brown Coffee as our very first office. And we have three co-founders, and we work part-time and then created a lot of apps. And in the beginning, we have several ideas. For example, you can see back to 2010, we have the vision to solve a lot of a social problem, including we want to have app to do real-time investment, and we want to have the app to solve online security and also mobile games and LBS shopping. Yeah, and in the end, Who's Call led to now and then become bigger and develop several different applications. And you can see here is a Facebook post I want to share with you guys. And if you can see the timestamp over there, I posted this slide in 2010, and at that time we create several apps, try to figure out which app can be really successful in the end. And I even, if you guys can read the Mandarin, you can see I do some a prediction. I said if we didn't disappear in 2012, and then we will be very rich in 2013. And in the end, we are being invested by Never, which is the parent company of Line. and in 2013. So it's a very, very accurate predictions actually. Okay. So, and the next question from the host is like, what is Whoscall's product and service? And here I want to share with you a slide, and then you can see in the center, we see trust as the core value of our service. So we try to develop different kinds of services like upon this trust value, and we have the service called Whoscall, and it's a fraud protection to the consumer. And we also have a toward business product. It's called EP14. We do anti-fraud service for the bank and also help them to do some risk management. And these days, we also have the new services target to do the financial inclusions. And we have a product called Ru, and helping the unbanked users to get the trust from the bank, and then can leverage the financial power to increase their life. So focus on the technology in data, and we try to solve the problem in trust. And we have the product called Whoscall and EP14, and now we have a Ru to solve the fintech inclusion problems. And here I show some example about the most popular product of Whoscall. I think you can download it and then to experience every good of these products. And we can identify the unknown numbers for you, just like you see in the slide. And also, when you are playing the game, we helping block the unwanted calls like that. And these days, we know the SMS fraud or SMS ban is getting like really serious. We're gonna have this feature very soon. By the end of this year, we will provide a very smart SMS assistant to help you fill out all the unwanted SMS as well. And even very soon, we know the fraud is evolving. It's from like a call and then move to SMS, and now the paradigm even shift to messengers. We can see a lot of fraud cases, fraud URL, fraud messages is being sent to the messenger. So very soon we're also introducing a chatbot to help people avoid from all the fraud messages, fraud link, fraud news, and even in the messenger. And I think Meng, we're gonna do some introduction about that part as well. Yeah. And next question is about like, why did you create Whoscall and how it is now? And I think I want to use some like experience before. I was born in like almost 40 years ago. And yeah, sorry, yeah, it's old. And at that time, I still remember like every phone calls, like the experience is really good. I'm always looking forward to pick up the call when I was a child. And it's always joyful and excited to hear the voice from the other side. But nowadays, we know whenever the phone rings, it always goes with like anxiety and then worrisome, and then feel like fear and even lose control of your daily life. You think your life is being controlled by the machine and those kind of feeling. And why? Because if you look into some statistic, you will know that number of calls is dropping rapidly, right? And it's being moved to the messengers. But if you look into the ratio of unknown numbers, is keep increasing. So that means every phone rings, no longer they're like a good experience. It's always about unknown and always about fear. Yeah, so that's why in the beginning we create Whoscall. 8 years ago, or we can say 10 years ago, the fraud situation is really serious in Taiwan. So it's kind of like we put ourselves a point and then try to solve it from an app. And then we just figure out this is not only a case from Taiwan, it's a global issues. So in the beginning, we just try to solve our own problem. But in the end, we figure out this kind of requirement is a global pain point. Yeah, so start from Whoscall. We figure out like ourselves, we are 3 founders, and we successfully gather a lot of partnership with technology talents. We gather a lot of database, and we create a collaborative platform like Whoscall. And then we just realized, use all the AI and big data technology, we can try to solve a problem of trust. So that's why we create Whoscall. We want to help people to trust others. And that's why we even doing financial inclusion right now. We also want to help people to be trusted by others. And technology and data can enable those kind of trust. And this is how Whoscall goes right now. We have more than 10 million active users. And in our database, we have already exceeded like 1.6 billion of phone number database, and it's all like fresh and real time being updated. And we have globally over 80 million downloads. And every month, the traffic of phone calls being identified by Whoscall is over 2 billion. Okay, then next question is like, what's the secret sauce of Gogolook? Okay. Here, I want to share with you a theory is from one of our very beginning angel investor. Yeah, he's a very famous angel investor in Taiwan and mainland China. And he told us like why he invests in Gogolook is because he has a principle of 7U. And he used this 7U to identify a good company to invest. And there's like a uniqueness of these products and useful for sure, and user experience, everyone knows, and universal, ubiquitous, and user-based by viral and unusual luck. And I think I want to point out two things I think is really unique for Gogolook and also the application called Whoscall. I want to point out like a universal and unusual luck. You can know, like in the beginning, we just try to solve the problem of our own. It's like fear to the unknown numbers. But in the end, we just figure out like every country's like human society have those kind of fear. I think maybe you guys knows about the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? It's a pyramid, and it point out like humans' needs in the bottom is about like physical needs, and then is security needs. So in the beginning, we successfully pinpoint one need, which is very bottom. So it crossed the borders and cross countries, and everyone have those fear about unknown calls. So that's why we can penetrate from like Taiwan to like Korea, Japan, Thailand, Malaysia, and even Brazil and all those countries, because we solve a problem which is very unique needs. And the other thing is like unusual luck. The angel investor tell us like he sees some really unusual luck. For example, like we meet a perfect like a combination of founders. 3 co-founders are very unique, but we can collaborate and make things done and make things move. And then we are being like also invested by these angel investors, and then never invest us. And then after that, we have several very good partners to join us at being our investors and still trust the team. So I would say like in order to become Gogolook today, and unusual luck is still one of the secret sauce of our company, right? All right, yeah. Part 2 will still be me, and I will talking about some is more like boring part, but I will try to make it like interesting. Like what's the like anti-fraud solution? The principles behind this technology. Okay, probably I can say today our technology can predict the fraud accuracy to like 99%. And then what's the technology behind? I want to divide it into like 4 stages. And in the beginning, we try to collect all the phone number information from like a Whoscall user base. Everyone can report. And then we also collect from internet. We have like crawler to gather all the public phone number informations. And we also collaborate with local police and local organization to gather, let's say, fraud number and also some verified numbers, because we all know there are some numbers doing bad, but still most of the public number, they just try to provide good services like customer services and delivery and all those numbers. So we gather all the information from internet, from our user base. This is the first step. And then behind that, we have a voting algorithms. Every time when user pick up a call, we try to track all the behavior and then put those like behavior into a voting, let's say voting mechanism. We have some weighting, and then to that user vote on every numbers. And after that vote, we also use like AI and machine learning, and then try to simulate the people voting, and to that the machine can also vote on the numbers. And we also use the AI and machine learning to avoid the abusing, because as a platform you have to understand that people try to abuse it, right? Try to make good number as a bad number, try to make bad number as a good numbers, and then so we also use AI to try to avoid abusing. And in the last part, technology is not everything, so we still need use people. Nowadays we have like over like 10 like human beings, and they every day to check the numbers. We have to eliminate all the privacy violation. We have to eliminate all the information about personal, and also we need to eliminate all the like attacking and those kind of like bad wordings. Yeah. So in the last step, we still need to people. So it's like a machine and human collaboration system. And here, I just want to show some like stages of the AI. AI is just a term, but actually it has several different steps. For example, like globally, there's some formats which once a phone number shows like those kind of formats, and it's a fraud. And then we have like a fraud blocking from, let's say, rule-based and also AI algorithm based, and then also like we have the database gathered from the police. And also we use some behavioral mechanism to filter out the abnormal behaviors. And then in the end, we also gather the good numbers. So we have verified number services. We identify the number which they try to contact you is for good, is for no more, let's say, business behaviors. Yeah. So just a easy explanation. And what's the benefit and how important to the world? Okay. Here I want to use some like a metaphor. Probably you guys all like know this movie from Steven Spielberg, and it's called what's that, like Ready Player One. It describes like in the future everyone live behind the screen, right? I think nowadays it's similar, right? The new normal seems like look like this kind of things, but we don't have goggles. And when you interact with others, you are not actually interact with the real people. You interact with their digital avatar. So everyone become a digital me, and you use that digital me to interact with the real world, to interact with others. So there's a very important question. Is a true identity behind it, or is a fraud, right? And it's so real. For example, the digital me, now it need to have some ID to let you log in and to let you create your digital me, right? So there are some famous ID. For example, in some countries, they want to create an EID. And a lot of services use phone number to let people log in, right? And there's also email, QR code, Google, and Facebook ID, and all those kind of ID. And you use those ID to conduct the internet activities. For example, like you call someone, you shopping, you're doing landing, booking, chatting, money sending, Uber eating, and shopping, paying, messaging. And that's why I'm saying like when the world goes virtually and when face-to-face become a luxury, that means fraud issue are getting worse, right? Because you cannot interact with someone physically. How can you trust these guys? So I would say what Gogolook is doing, use data to identify the people you interact is trustworthy or not, will getting more and more important even in the future when everyone become virtual interactive with others. Yeah. So what's the current worldwide trend? Okay, I want to share with you some like a clear trend we observe like firsthand. We see a globalization even toward the fraud. And you can see here's an example from Japan. We see the fraud from like foreign numbers is getting increasing. So you can see the fraud amount is increasing, but most interesting part is the red one. There's a significant big portions keep increasing is the fraud. Those fraud code is from foreign numbers. Yeah. So it tells us like not only the bright side industry is getting globalization, but also the dark side industry, they're getting globalization. Yeah, so that's why a global solutions, a global, let's say, service provider is so important, because we can realize all those, let's say, fraud numbers from other countries and to protect the other countries. Yeah. And here is also one trend is, okay, my Siri is being woke up. I don't know why. SMS phishing. Because of this COVID-19, and then there's so many like a panic, and there's also some let's say opportunity like show up in front of those like fraud players. Here's some example. For example, there's some fraud targeting this COVID-19 situation. Use the category that say delivery. They will say like you order some mask from the internet, or you order some like goods, which is very important for protection from the internet, and please receive it. And a lot of time when you click the link, is a malicious link. You will let your like a contact book or your personal information being stolen, those kind of stuff. Yeah. And also there's some SMS is about like school survey. They want to ask you like, did you go to any other place, like which is really high risk during the holiday? But actually the link is also a malicious link, try to store your personal information. And there's also some online service to tell you like you have a bill, you need to pay for it. For example, like Netflix, right? Because people under the pandemic can only do like a Netflixing or those kind of things. So there are also some like a hole which people can contact you and then say you have some missing, let's say, bill and need to pay for it, and then it turns out to be a like malicious link. So SM phishing is getting serious. And the other things people, I think you let me stop it. It's quite annoying to keep moving. Stop it. Okay, yeah. So the other thing is formative AI. Formative AI means like people can use deepfake and all those kinds of really state-of-art technology to fake your face, to fake your voice, and then to fraud you. You can know, like 8 years ago, probably they will tell you like your kid is being kidnapping, but the voice is totally different. They can pretend they're your son and then say, "Mom, I'm being kidnapping," but the voice is totally different, right? But nowadays they can even deepfake your voice, so it's really dangerous. Nowadays we see the news like you are being contacted by your boss and then say like you need to log in a system and then to provide some information, and then the boss voice is really like a mimic to your actual boss, right? It's all formative AI. So we can realize this kind of AI technology can be used in the good side, but it can also being used by the fraud. So it's getting serious, and we are trying to fight back with the AI, and we can see it as like a battle, and we need to keep increasing our technologies as well. All right, so this is some trend. All right, so this is my part. So I will hand over to May.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing with us the story of Gogolook, as well as the secret to success of the company, the ultimate 7 U's, right? I think those are very interesting concept that I think all of the startups or all the companies, you should consider all these aspects when you doing a business and all those. And also, thank you so much for sharing with us about the details about anti-fraud solutions. I think that, in the world that we live in today, where our life has become more and more online and digitized, I think it's very important that we focus on how we can protect ourselves from all these fraud, because as Jeff has mentioned that now, you have less physical interaction, so you have a lot less, chance to able to distinguish all these things. So it's very important to have this anti-fraud to build trust with people, and the relationship on online world as well. And also very interesting on the trend of how the anti-fraud solution is going, and then how advanced it has developed now, especially that AI at the last slide, that now they can adjust the face, like real-time video. That's very crazy, and I think that's gonna be more and more scary in the upcoming, like soon. So I think we should definitely be careful on that. So for the next part, let's hear from the company COO on how an anti-fraud company like Gogolook can help us to tackle it, and what's their strategy here. So please welcome Manwoo Ju, the CEO of Gogolook.
Thank you for
Welcome,
having
Manwoo.
us, and I'm happy to introduce our plan in Thailand. Anyway, thank you for Jeff, your introduction about our vision and products. But that's the CEO's role. So my role is more like make it happen in the real world. So I'm gonna talk more about the stories from the part 3.
So, do you see the slide?
Can you change the slide?
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. So I will share some our plan and strategy from the part 3. Okay. So question: so why is Thailand important for Fusco? It's important. Thailand is important because before I explain the meaning of Thailand, I want to introduce some global status on the Gogolook. We have quite good presence in the other countries, especially Taiwan, Hong Kong as our mother countries. We gained more than 30% of population's penetration. It's quite big number. If we narrow down the audience among only economic activity people, maybe we can reach more than 50%. So 1 of 2 in Taiwan is used to Fusco. So we can say we are already being the dominant player position. Now Hong Kong as well. Hong Kong also will reach 20% of population penetration. It's quite huge. But besides these 2 countries, even though we try a lot to address the other country, we didn't get this kind of position yet. But Thailand shows some potential. So if we can make some success in the Thailand, that will be first country outside of Taiwan, Hong Kong, to get the meaningful presence in outside. Then that will give us very big self-confidence as well. Then even this Thailand can give us a huge business opportunity as well. So besides even Thailand, we serve our service other country, Korea, Japan, Malaysia, Brazil. They're also good, but not like Thailand. Then I want to explain why Thailand more meaningful and important to us, like this one. Before we select some country which we strategically invest, we usually take 3 factors to evaluate. First one, the growth trend is good, like the country we dominate, like in the Taiwan, Hong Kong. Or second, retention rate. And third, this is more important, how many unknown strangers calls are happening in the certain countries. Then we usually evaluate these 3 factors, but Thailand shows most of 3 factors with quite positive result. The first one, MA growth by only organic traffic. This shows a similar growth momentum like Taiwan, Hong Kong in initial growth stage. So even though we did some marketing 5 years ago here, but after we stopped the marketing, the Thailand showed constant growth with the only organic traffic. That is very important, which means there is a market. There's a need to use this one. And the second one, the retention rate. 75% retention rate is really high. If someone who work in the app industry see this retention rate, they will be shocked because 75 is really huge. But this percentage is the same as the Taiwan, Hong Kong's retention rate. Even other countries, Korea, Brazil shows the similar level of retention. But anyway, Thailand shows a quite good retention rate, which means again, market has a need for this service. And the third one, a stranger's call, why is it important? Because we are caller ID. Like Western country, which doesn't have big number of strangers incoming call, their need is not that big. Caller ID is, what's the caller ID? Caller ID is born to be the service to identify who's calling from unknown number. But if unknown number is small, then it's a meaningless. But Thailand is the number of incoming call is quite big. So based on the three evaluating, we selected Thailand, and even Thailand shows potential as number one, the first mover in caller ID, the area. So that's the meaning to so big meaning to who's called. So that's why we have this time as well to present our service and then our plan as well. And then second one, what's the who's call's plan or strategy for Thailand? Once we pick any strategic country, we aiming at targeting 20% penetration of population within a certain period. So we are planning to execute all the plan targeting on this number. It's a quite bold and a very aggressive target, but we believe we can do, because when I check the graph and then user interview and then situations tells us we can do. But I know it's not that easy one, but we will try through these three steps. But can be changed the order, but usually we do this kind of strategy. First, maybe all the people may know this strategy as well. First, we need to build a team, talented the people. I hope anyone who watch this the conference can apply. Then we can work together. And then we need to invest the brand's marketing as well, because as Jeff mentioned in first part, the trust is important to run this service. So, but we cannot make a trust right away. That is gonna take a long time to build the trust. But trust also can be built by the brand. The brand also trust by another activities, but we actually consider brands, the management as the key the strategy we need to develop in Thailand. So we'll try to deliver our proper message to Thai people to penetrate and then let them use in daily life through all the social media or even PR or key opinion leader, the channel. And even we are planning to extend to the BTL, ATL, whatever, if we can get any the brands, so we will try. Then even we are open for partnering with the company or government associations, whatever, because in order to penetrate more widely in the market, we need to reach unreached users as well. But if we only rely on the media channel we buy, we will face some limitation to reach. But through the partnership, that enable us to meet some unreached user with the proper message, proper way. So we usually try to build this relationship with the partner. And that's our plan in Thailand. Then the next question is, do you have other plans besides Who's Call in Thailand? Right. Well, as Jeff introduced the first part, we have several other anti-fraud products besides Who's Call. Who's Call is the service to protect from malicious user. So we can let user enjoy call behavior in the daily life, but also we are planning to launch the fact-checking the service. Now, what is fact-checking service? Fact-checking. There are a lot of these days the misinformations and the fake news we face. But because of this fake news or misinformation, many people get in trouble. For instance, especially on the COVID-19 situation, there are a lot of misinformation which can impact on very negatively on the senior people. In certain country, there are some misinformation saying if you gargle your mouth with the warm salt water, you can protect from COVID-19, those kind of things. But some of the senior actually believe it. Then the result is very tragedy. So, but if they can check if that misinformation is true or not, they could save their victim cases. So I believe if we launch this service in Thailand, also this service can help protect from the misinformation. So this service will be launched in the Line chatbot because it's easy to deliver the reply of fact-checking results. So even this service is quite popular in Thailand, and Taiwan. So many users these days share misinformation through the group chatting in the Line. But the Taiwan user usually add the fact-checking chatbot as their friend, so they can paste misinformation and check right away through our chatbot. So the fact-checking service users send some good, the experience, the story to us. Because of this one, we could protect from the fake news. Especially, senior people easily tends to be, victim, because they are more willing to circulate certain information to their friends easily. So, but it's really hard of us to interrupt to say something, your information is wrong, because senior, especially for instance, my mother doesn't want to listen, saying, hi mom, that information is misinformation, so please don't do it. Then the mother's reaction is not like friendly. So even as son, it's hard to mention how to correct that one. But in that time, this chatbot can help. Instead of my direct the feedback, if the parents add this service as their friend in the group chatting, then they can figure out what is real, true or not. So even this one, as what Jeff mentioned, we can enter messaging apps, some fraud service area. Through serving this one, we can get some fraud URL or fraud information, or sometimes some fraud phone numbers. So once we get this information, it can help our machine learning to analyze and build a more high-tech fraud database. So we are planning to serve and they launch this service in Q4 in Thailand. Hope this audience can enjoy the service as well soon. The last one, the URL detecting, like what Jeff mentioned before, even these days, not only call fraud, but also, in fact, the misinformation, but also SMS phishing is so popular in the world. But if we can analyze and then tell the user these URLs has some malicious APK or malicious some virus, then people can avoid any harmful situation. So we are also planning to introduce these services soon in Thailand as well. So hope this service can actually protect some malicious case in Thailand. But by this service, we can also get some fraud database as well, which can help us to enhance our database as well. Then let's recall the moment, the second page I introduced, saying we are aiming at 20% of penetration in the population. But why we consider 20% the level of the penetration? Because in order to solve anti-fraud database, anti-fraud service, the first we need to build the huge and high-end and a very trustful database. But once we gain the fraud database through the population, we can finally solve this business as well. Even in Taiwan, Hong Kong, after we reaching 20% penetration, we could build a quite competitive fraud database, which the financial institutes, the banks like to use. So we hope we can apply same model in Thailand as well. So first, phone number risk check. So through this risk scoring database, banks, the financial institute can filter out some high-risk users so they can reduce their default rate. Then through this one, they can even reach some unbanked user as well. So that is a quite popular service already in Taiwan. So most of Taiwan top banks adopted this risk scoring database. So and the next one is the financial marketplace. This one is simply, we can say, finance product comparison site. So people can compare the loan service, which is given by or fed by banks, and then even credit card. But through our database, we can also filter out some high-risk user. So the supply side, as the bank, we like this service, this marketplace as well. Then even at the same time, we can offer good, filtered, and then high trust finance products to the user side as well. The last one, the speed loan. All these services should be based on the fraud database. Once we have a fraud database, we can reduce the banks, the risk, and the default rate. By reducing this one, bank can easily give the loan and then extend their service to the unbanked user. That on-off service bank like to introduce market is speed loan. You can guess, right? The speed loan. They can, they can give the loan within the 5 minutes, even 1 minute, through the all online process. The user doesn't have to go to offline the window to negotiate and then check and then provide and submit all the documentation. But while user fill out important some key field, then bank can give the result of the approval right away. But in order to realize that idea in the market, the fraud database is very important. But because of the risk database, actually enable bank to do it. So hope we can successfully address market with the 3 service like caller ID and fact checking service and URL detecting in Thailand. Then sooner or later we can build this fraud database in Thailand so that we can do business at Thailand as well. That's our plan in Thailand within 2 or 3 years. I believe we can achieve, right, Jeff?
Yes.
Right. That's the plan. That's all we prepare. So I think we can take some Q&A session if anyone wants, ask questions.
All right. Thank you. So first of all, thank you so much, Manhu, for sharing with us the strategy of how Gogolook is planning to come into Thailand, and I'm very glad to hear that you guys see Thailand as with high market potential to expand into this country. And before I move on to the Q&A session, as Manhu mentioned that you guys are looking for the team of talents here as well, right? So if anyone interested, how can they reach you guys, or how they can submit the application to you?
All right, we'll show some.
Send me the email. Right. So my email is really simple. It's like I'm Jeff, right? And my last name is Guo, Kuo, right? So it's just JEFFKUO, Jeff Guo @gogolook.com. Right, so hope you can share like all the audience, about my email, and then looking forward to meet all the talents in Thailand and to help us build the best team.
Right, even partnerships, all welcome to open.
Right, and also partnership, because I know probably some audience is they are running their own services and running those startup companies, and if you have any ideas about to solve the trust problem between strangers, then we can talk about it. Right. Okay.
All right. Our admin would put the email of Jeff in the comment section. So anyone, if you are looking for new opportunities, whether you're a talent or you want some partnership opportunity, just reach out to these guys.
Right. My email, mwjoo@gogolook.com. So simple MWJOO.
Right.
MWJOO.
Right.
Okay. We'll type you guys' emails in the comment section. So anyone interested in to reach, please do reach out to them. And another point is, I think very important, interesting is the feature that you guys have mentioned about the fact checking. I think especially for Thailand, I think we rank among the top in terms of mobile penetration and social media users. So this feature, I think, would be very important and would help solve many issues that are circling around the society, in response to the current situations and many things that, a lot of problems are caused with these information that are happening. So I think this is a very, very good feature.
Right. We also look forward to seeing the Thailand people's feedback, and I want to see the response in the market as well.
All right. Thank you guys so much. So now let's move on to the Q&A session. We have so far, I think, the first question from the audience, from Nestor Sanchez. How does the transition from voice call to voice over IP-based solutions will affect the company?
Okay, so I think I will answer this one. Actually, this is always a nightmare from our day one. Investors and then medias keep asking us the phone call is a disappear, right? It's being replaced by messengers and all the VoIPs. And then every time when we're facing this kind of question, we ask about the truth, and then which is data. So when we go back to data and we look into some like portion of the unknown numbers, surprisingly, all the VoIP transition is about like a friend's call and then your family's calls, right? So all those like I will take it as a strong tie communication. All the strong tie communication is moving into VoIP and is moving into messengers. But if we look into the ratio or even the amount of the unknown numbers, it's actually stuck there and then it's even increasing. Because you have to understand the phone number network is the very first of the humans like a social network. And everyone is connected. You don't need to opt in and you cannot opt out, right? Yeah, once I know someone's phone number and I can call you and then I can even SMS you and you have no right to reject. Right?
That's true. That's true.
So that's why nowadays, and even during the economy's receptions, and then people need to leave, need to make businesses. So all kinds of telemarketing and then like sales like manners and then use some very, very rude way to contact you. And I can show you some example, not even like unknown numbers, like unknown calls is not increasing, but also the SMS amount is keep increasing. Compared with 3 years ago, the SMS amount is increased 3 times in total amount. Yeah, so I would say this part, make caller ID is really important, even when the VoIP like is decreasing. And the other fact is phone number nowadays not only using for communicating, but also being used as an ID to log in the services. So that's why phone number equals to your digital need, right? So that's why we're introducing the service like WeChat toward the bank side, and they will check the phone number, and then when people apply for digital account, to apply for a loan, to apply for all the like online bankings, and then the phone number is being taken as ID to verify everyone. So I would say the overall phone number is still important, and that's not the excuse. We need to facing the changes. So that's why we introduced chatbot into the messengers. We realize all the fraud issues is moving from the old paradigm like a phone call, the telecom issues, is moving to like the new telecom, which is the messenger world, right? So we also try to innovate it in the new telecom world, which is messenger, and try to solve the fraud like situation over there. Yeah, but this is very good like questions we're facing every day, and even we're facing in the future.
When I joined, before I joined this company, I'm from the neighbor, who decided to invest this company.
Investor
before, but the first question I asked him was, same question.
Same question.
Good question.
While you are surviving, we are the company create line.
Right. Then completely different direction. How come?
Right.
But even after 7 years, the number of unknown number, the call,
it's not decreasing.
Didn't at all.
Right.
So still, the things we believe we have some opportunity.
Yeah. But just like I mentioned, we have to embrace the new communication, like media, like messengers, and even others, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for the answer. For the next question, by Kun Bill Titinan, what would be the greatest challenge you foresee in expanding to Thailand?
The challenges.
That's a good question. Before actually address Thailand, we did a lot of effort to Brazil as well. But it's not easy because culture different, and then the way of call behavior is different as well. Then also device issue as well. If I recall the moment we failed something on Brazil, at the time, the majority of smartphone users use low-end device. Means they oftentimes they delete unnecessary apps right away. So unless we enter within top 10 or top 5 apps, then retention rate should be very low. So that was the real challenging at the time. Maybe Thailand can be, maybe if we need to penetrate the besides Bangkok metropolitan area, the rural area, maybe, that can be the one of challenging part to overcome. So we need to let user purely understand what is the real value of this call ID. That is gonna take a little time. But besides that one, maybe I think others we will have, but not that much.
Right, and I think one challenge is always have to penetrate to like other countries would be talent. Yeah, because I would say like all those excuses, if we can find a really good talent in Thailand, yeah, you will just become happy problems. So I think it's still back to what we try to like communicate even to the audience. If you guys are really interested in our business, you can help us deal with this biggest challenge, which is like Thailand is an unknown market to us. But if real talent over here and in the Bangkok in Thailand can help us like facing all those challenges, and then we can make it into growth, right?
So like more on like to find a local perspective on the market, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Right. I think just like Manu mentioned, why we have some progress in Brazil is because we also find a very good local manager over there. Yeah. Man, we take a lot of time to dig it in LinkedIn and then to talk with everyone and then finally find someone which we can talk.
Right, but it's still tough.
It's still tough, right?
The challenge there, even I believe, will face some unexpected challenging part soon. Even though all the 3 factors shows positive, but I don't think that will lead us very great Silk Road. But if we have self-confidence and if company decide to pick this country as a strategic country, then with the local talented people, we can overcome, I guess.
Right. Come on, I think all audience here are entrepreneurs, right? We don't do things without challenging.
Yeah. Hold on. We got one comment saying that, can you tell them whose call is good product? Hope we can develop more. And Danny Wong asked you guys if you have any plan to develop whose call, like a chat or a messenger function.
Also, that is a good question. That's also good. If people need this function, we will provide this functionality. But we probably focus on the things we can do better, which is build a fraud database.
Yeah. Because I think Messenger is always a winner takes all like areas, right? Yeah, you have to understand. Even we know the most popular messenger in Korea is Kakao Talk, right? But never the app is Line. Even like Never is a Korean company, they cannot use Line to beat the Korean's biggest chat like Messenger Kakao, right? So I think Messenger market is winner takes all, and if we try to do something we're not that good at, it will always be a disaster. So we are more want to focus on if Messenger has become so popular, right? How can we filter? How can we be a protector in that infrastructures to help people? And that can make all our effort build on the previous success and to even build more on technology and experience on everything. Yeah, and that can facilitate our future success. So instead of like build a chatbot, we want instead of like building another chat, I would prefer build more like a guardian angel with like inside the chat. Yeah.
But anyway, if Thai people love to use chat through the who's call, we love to build it.
I think if meet the penetration, let's say like over 50% of the population, and then we can think about
Even 20%.
Send the request, guys. We want the messengers.
Yeah.
But I think that's very interesting that you say, like, building the guardian angel for the chat. Like that's aligned with, your core business, your core value. That's very interesting. Is there any last questions from the audience? You guys can type in the comment sections and I'll read out to these guys. All right, I think that's it for the questions.
Okay.
Well, if there's no more questions today, I would like to thank you both so much. Our speakers, Jeff Kuo and Man-Woo Ju, for joining us for the session today. And thank you so much for sharing all this knowledge and perspective for all our lovely audience today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And all the audience. Thank you.
Right. And last but not least, I would like to also thank all of our lovely audience for tuning in today. And if you've enjoyed our event, please follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, or subscribe to our newsletter for the latest news and updates on events and everything happening at True Digital Park. We regularly host events like this one where we update on the trends and topics of tech-related or our startups. So you can follow us and be sure to check us out. And anyone interested you can reach out to Gogolook team. You can find their emails in the comment section. Drop them an email. You can, just reach out to them, talk to them, or, comment or, explore any opportunities that you may have. All right. So again, thank you, everyone. And that's it for today. Goodbye and good night, everyone. Thank you so much. สวัสดีค่ะ
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.